There you try and find where the joining link is. It's one of those quick links, what do they call it? What do they call it now? There it is. I see it there. You can see the extra long hole. So I'm going to get my pliers and I'll undo it. Alright, here it is. So the best way I found to do it, sort of pinch it up like that. Put pressure there. And it just comes apart. There we go. And thread it through. You can just pull it that way. There we go. There we go. Off with the old chain. You'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense right now. I coil it up about that big. I might have made it too big. Anyway. Okay, old chain. It's the quick links. Dickhead. There's the old chain, or the previous chain in here. Sort of on the end. It's been soaking in here for a while. So it's on the end, and as I pull it out, I get a rag and just sort of try and dry it off like that, because it always gets tangled up. It's good to have a bit of paper on the table so you don't get the chain all dirty again after you've cleaned it. But, okay, a bit more out. Okay. Now this isn't the purest way of cleaning a chain by any means. And look at that, there's still a whole lot of crap in there. Can you see that? I don't know. You can see all the crap in there. It hasn't come out too good at all. It's usually better than that. What I'll do is I'll set that there, and I'll clean ice cream container, and I'll tip the top part of the caro. This is just kerosene. Yeah, because I'm a tight ass. I'll tip the top part of the caro in there because that's fairly clean. Now the bottom part, I don't know if you can see in there. Yeah, put that in the light. Don't know if you're about to see that. All the crap in the bottom of that's come off the chain. Actually, I think I might have used that a couple of times. So there's a fair bit of crap in there. And what I'll do is I'll get another piece of newspaper. I'll swish it around. Or probably another container actually. I'll use this one. It's already dirty. I'll swish it around with the paintbrush and everything and dissolve that grease and tip it in there, and then I'll get rid of it. Okay. And also in there, you can hear rattling around is those two quick links. Remember to get those out. Yeah, clunk. So that's got most of the crap out. In there. Alright, now these two quick links in there. So those ones go with the chain that's going on. Now that's where all the crap is, so I won't keep that. I'll get rid of that. I'm not that much of a tight ass. I'll put some new caro in there, some fresh caro in there, and give that chain a bit of a swish around, and then stick it on the bike. Here we go. Fairly clean caro in there. So I'll put that back there. I'll put the chain in. One reason why I don't use those join links in there, one reason I don't use too much Caro is because it's actually not good to use too much and dispose of it. However you dispose of it, it's going to end up somewhere that's probably not good. I'll just wrap this up a bit somehow. You don't wrap it up, sort of, and the Caro doesn't get in there. Plonk it in there. There we go. Put the lid on. I probably shouldn't use a Staminade container. I don't think anyone's going to mistake what's in here for Staminade, but it's generally not a good idea to use food containers for anything that's other than food, especially if it's poisonous. It's like making a milkshake. Alright, and now we'll pull that out again. Some people should probably, if you're not sure you're not going to get a rash, then it's probably best to wear gloves doing this. Oops. I've done this plenty of times and I've never had any skin problems, so I'm a bit lazy, but you probably should wear gloves rather than get your hands covered in greasy kerosene. It's looking better. We'll see what happens when we get to the other end. There's the downside with wrapping it up, it comes out all tangled up. It's looking pretty good now. I think I haven't changed the kerosene for quite a while, so it's probably my laziness that made it come out so dirty. There we go, it's looking a lot better. It's looking like a new chain. Now, I can't remember the numbers, how many Ks I've done on this chain, but I think it's a couple of thousand Ks on each chain. What I'm doing is I'm trying out something. I've got two chains and one set of running gear. I swap them over about every 500 Ks. Theory being that the chain wears out twice the rate of the sprockets. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I read it somewhere on the internet, and who am I to argue with the internet? I think it was Sheldon Brown's website, which is pretty, he's got some good stuff on that. He's got some good stuff on that Sheldon Brown page, so if you got a few hours to kill, check it out. I think it's sheldonbrown.com. Now the old one goes in, and there's the two quick links in there, so plonk them in. Goes in, it's covered up with the Caro, but because I'm a tight ass, I'll put this stuff back in. All the heavy crap would have sunk to the bottom. I'll just put that in there. All the crap will be in the bottom, so pop that in there. Put the lid on. Make a bit of a milkshake. And that sits there until next time. See how the light goes. No, I didn't put it in his particular gear, but you can sort of see where the jockey wheels are. Line it up. If you don't know how a chain goes back on, probably wouldn't take it off, but it's not hard. If you've got another bike you can copy off, you'll soon work it out. It is a bit fiddly. Look what I've done. I've got to go under that little bit there. There we go. Now, try again. Through there. Now I don't pay attention to which way the chain faces. Maybe I should. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody who does. So. Alright. Through the front derailleur. Nothing hard about that. It's fiddly. Once it's sort of like that, it's probably a bit easier. I'll just change that the smaller sprocket. Make it a bit easier to bring the two ends together. Yeah. Put one of the quick links in one way, facing so that the link's on the inside, which means this link can go on the outside. Bring them together. A match made in heaven. I'll just flick it through. Probably can't see that. I'll try and there we go. You see how the rivets at the front end of the hole, the bigger end of the hole, and then you let the chain tension take up and it snaps into the back of the hole, and that will sit like that until I pull it apart next time, and that's it. I put a little bit of chain lube on that, but not much, a little bit, because the kerosene would have taken it all out. But that's it. Very lazy, quick chain swap. Lazy because I didn't clean the cluster. Every other time I'll actually take the cluster off and I'll stick this in a kerosene bath as well, clean that off. If I'm feeling really energetic, I'll take the derailleur off and clean that too, but I don't often do that. And then if I'm feeling really stupid, I'll take the front crank off and clean that. But it's a bit of a big job taking the crank off. You've got to take this left hand crank off, and then the whole drive side crank and the axle, or spindle I think it's called, will come out as well. So it's a bit of a big job. I'm far too lazy to do that most of the time. Alright, well that's it. Alright, this is me going to the Strava to get the odometer reading for my mountain bike, and then going into Melbourne Cyclist, which is where I keep a little bit of a blog on my mountain bike. I don't put much in it, but I do keep the odometer readings of when I replace the chain, or swap the chain I should say. So here we are, this is my page. Go into my blogs and I go down to the blog for the mountain bike. Let's keep going. Here we go. Ride Like a Wombat, number 2. And I go down, and that's the odometer readings from Strava that I've replaced the chain. So I put the first one on at 3,000 odd kilometres, and then all the odometer readings where I've swapped it over. Now I'll go and edit this blog. Okay, edit blog, edit post I think it says. Go down, add a new line. Chain number 1 went on at 8438 kilometres, which is what I got from Strava. Then I'll edit that line, say next chain due at about 9,000 kilometres, around about the 500 k's. I don't get too paranoid about how exact it is. I don't think it really matters, as long as it's probably 400 to 600, somewhere in there. And that's that. Alright, so I'll just go to Sheldon Brown's website, Sheldon Brown. I've already got that in there. So click on that, Sheldon Brown. Go down here, and there's a page for gears and drivetrains. A little bit of advertising. Down here, chains, that's what you want. And then this is all sorts of good stuff down here. Old chains, new chains, some of the way they used to be made, as to whether they're made now. Chain stretch, it's worth a read. They don't actually stretch, they just wear out. You see the wearing there, and wearing around that shoulder there. All those little bits of wear has the effect of the chain stretching, but it's not actually stretching. Lubrication, oiling chains, it's a good read. There's the quick link and the SRAM power link. That's what I was trying to say before, I couldn't think of the word. That's one way to get them off. I like my way better, but that way still works. And there's a close-up view of the quick link. You can see that little shoulder in there that goes inside a little groove on that rivet. This is what keeps it together. There's the old-fashioned style. Single speed still use that. You don't use that sort of retaining clip on a gear system with a derailleur. It won't work. All sorts of good stuff. And down here you can see what happens when the chain stretches, but it rides high on the teeth. And there's a nice worn sprocket. See how the teeth get sort of all angled like that, as opposed to a good one in the background. You can see the foreground's got one that's worn out pretty badly. There we go, riding high. You see those gaps of light between in there, not a good sign. Measuring chain wear, blah blah blah. Good stuff, recommend it. sheldonbrown.com. Have a look.